We have covered up to listen. We have in the last class we have taken up about input unit, output unit, central processing unit. Okay. Now we shall go into the details of central processing unit. What is the central processing unit? What does it contain? It is simply the box we see on the desktop. It is the box we see on the desktop. We call the box as the central processing unit. Whereas it contains one motherboard, or the technical name is chipset. Chipset. They call it the chipset, not the chips. Chipset. Okay. It's the chipset. Okay. It contains a microprocessor, random access memory, or main memory, or primary storage, or volatile memory. All those are the names for RAM. The chip we have fixed on the motherboard using our thumbs, the thumb pressure. We needed the thumb pressure for fixing RAM on the motherboard. It has got four different names: main memory, primary storage, random access memory, and the name not given here is volatile memory. Volatile memory. Okay, all these are the names for RAM, random access. Then motherboard. Then secondary storage or auxiliary storage. Secondary storage is otherwise called auxiliary storage. Auxiliary or secondary. Okay, what are the secondary storage units? Hard disk, optical disk or CD or DVD drive, floppy disk drive, pen drive. The pen drive we use is also secondary storage unit. Okay, then anything else, memory card, whatever other device we use for permanent storage is called secondary storage unit. Secondary storage unit. Then we have the power conversion box. It's called the switch mode power supply. Can you repeat? Switch mode power supply. Once more. Switch mode power supply. Okay, SMPS is the short form and we call it the switch mode power supply in the long form. Okay. Switch mode power supply takes 230 volts as input, converts it to several different voltages at 4.5 volts for processor, 4.5 volts for main power supply, then SATA power, whatever other power supply we need is obtained from which unit? SMPM. Okay. Then ports for connecting other devices. There are several ports. PS2, personal system 2. Then Ethernet port or RJ45 or LAN port. Okay. Then USB port, Universal Serial Bus, USB port. VGA port, video graphic array. Then HDMI, high definition media interface. Then DVI port, digital video interface. DVI is no longer used. It has been superseded by which port? HDMI. HDMI. Because HDMI can take both video and audio at fast rate. Therefore, we use HDMI instead of VGA and DVI. Okay, HDMI. High definition media interface. Done. All these ports. Then there is the hero called the microprocessor, because all the other units in the computer work at the command of which person? Which person? The hero called microprocessor. The entire movie, entire show is run by the microprocessor, and it has got an assistant, personal assistant called random access memory. Random access memory. And this personal assistant has got another assistant called the hard disk or secondary storage unit. Okay. All these have an office space, which is called the motherboard. All these persons have an office, and that office is called motherboard. Okay. Then processor is the hero of our. Okay. Then what are the components of a processor? Microprocessor has got arithmetic and logic unit. One of the units is ALU. ALU, arithmetic and logic unit. Arithmetic means calculation. Logic means comparison. You say my dress is better than yours, or your dress is better than mine. This comparison. Arithmetic means number related operation. Arithmetic and logic unit, ALU, does the calculations and comparisons. Then who drives the ALU to work at a fast rate? It's called the control unit. Control unit makes the processor to run smoothly without problem. And there is a timer which maintains when the lunch hour arrives, there is a bell. They ring a bell so that we all go. Timer. Similar to that, there is a timer inside the microprocessor. It switches on the processor at every cycle. Every cycle. Each cycle completes one operation. Each cycle of the processor completes one single operation. Okay. Done. Then microprocessor. Okay. Many electronic components, transistors, capacitors, and other things are embedded inside the processor, and we are worried about only two things. One is the speed of the processor. Microprocessor has got a processing speed. Normally, we measure the speed of the processor by megahertz or gigahertz. Previously, it was megahertz. Nowadays, it is gigahertz. What is hertz? Do you remember anything about hertz? Hertz. HZ. The symbol is HZ. Hertz. H-E-R-T-S. Hertz. H-E-R-T-S. HZ. Hertz. Henry Hertz was a scientist. Henry Hertz. Hertz is named after the scientist. It is 1 cycle per second. 1 hertz means 1 cycle per second. You do one operation per second. You do one work. You complete one task within a second. The speed is 1 hertz. Okay. 2 tasks, 2 hertz. 3 hertz. Normally, the power supply we use, alternating power supply we use in India, runs at 50 hertz. That is, it changes polarity 50 times in a second. Within 1 second, it changes from positive to negative 50 times. 50 cycles are completed within 1 second for normal power supply. Whereas, how many hertz can the processor complete within 1 second? How many hertz? 1000. Okay. Whereas normally the processor we use for our computers is around 3 gigahertz in speed. 3 gigahertz. 3 gigahertz. Kilo. For kilo, I have to add 3 zeros. For mega, I have to add another 3 zeros. For giga, I have to add another 3 zeros. And you try to read this. 1000, lakh, 10 lakh, crore, 300 crore operations. 300 crore operations within 1 second. Within 1 second. All this wonder happens within 1 second. Every second, the processor is capable of carrying out around 300 crore operations. Whereas it depends upon the speed. I said it is 3 gigahertz in our lab. Whereas the processor may have higher or lower speed. You have to add 9 zeros after the number, or you have to multiply the number by 1000, another 1000, another 1000. You have to multiply the number by 1000 3 times. You will get the speed of the processor. So many cycles within a second. 300 crore operations completed within how much time? 1 second. As we close and open our eyes, processor would have completed 300 crore operations. That is the reason why computer has got enormous speed. You provide some input, it can solve our problem within seconds because it has got enormous processing capacity. Okay, we measure it by what unit? Gigahertz. Hertz is the basic unit. Kilohertz was the unit previously used. Then it became megahertz. Then nowadays it is measured in terms of gigahertz. Whereas we have not yet terahertz speed processor. Kilo, mega, giga. Gigahertz is the normal unit nowadays. Okay. One processor, one ordinary processor. It's not a special processor. One ordinary processor, like the one in our lab, can complete 300 crore operations per second. Whereas some special processors have parallel processing capacity. They have much more processing power. Okay, we stop here. Okay, Who is the hero of our show? In a computer, who is the hero? Processor. Processor is the hero of the show because it runs all the other units. Okay. Who is the assistant to processor? RAM. Random access memory. This is the personal assistant of the processor. Then who is the clerk or clerical staff who stores all the data? Hard disk. Hard disk is the storage unit, secondary storage. Then what is the office space for the processor? Motherboard or the chipset. Okay, we stop it here. We'll continue tomorrow. Done.